Hello everyone. Today we'll be doing the part 5 of energy economics, and today's topic is demand for energy. We'll be studying about demand for energy and topics related to that associated with the concept of demand. Now let's start by understanding what is the meaning of demand. The term demand refers to those wants which are backed by willingness to buy, readiness to buy, and the ability to buy. What are wants? Wants refers to all our desires. Wants refers to the human desires which is unlimited. So every desire is not a demand. Every want is not a demand. There are certain wants that can be categorized as demand. Like let's say if I want to buy an iPhone. So to buy an iPhone, that is my desire. That is the want that I'm having, that I want to buy an iPhone. So if I don't have sufficient money to buy the iPhone, can I buy it? I cannot buy it. So my desire for iPhone is not getting converted into demand for iPhone. Why it is not becoming a demand? Because I'm not having sufficient money to buy it. I'm having the willingness to buy it, there's readiness to buy it, but I do not have the ability to buy it. So this is an example of what is what is demand. So only those wants which are backed by willingness to buy, readiness to buy, and the ability to buy are referred to as demand in economics. Now let's understand what is the meaning of demand for the factors of production. Now factors of productions refers to all the factors like land, capital, labor that is utilized in order to produce the goods and services. How does these factors of production get their demand? From where do they gain the demand? The demand of factors of production is derived from the demand for the goods and the services. For example, the demand for sauce might be because it can be used in pizza, it can be used to eat with samosa. So this is why there is demand for sauce. Sauce by itself, you cannot just eat sauce. So that is sauce is purchased so that it can be eaten with some other item. So the demand for sauce is derived from the demand for other goods and services. Like even sauce is used inside, like in the pizzas. So it's used as a base. So all this are what? These are, it's a factor of production. Through that sauce, you are able to create pizza. Through that sauce, you're able to create some dishes. Like for example, even you can take cheese. In pizzas, in a pizza, we use cheese, we use chili flakes, oregano. So all these things can be understood as the factors of production. These are the factors of production that lead to the production of the pizza. So the more is the demand for pizza, the more would be the demand for the factors of production that led to the making of the pizza. Similarly, the demand for the factors of production is dependent on the demand for the goods and services that is existing in the market. This kind of demand that we see in case of factors of production that we saw in the case of cheese, sauce, this demand is referred to as derived demand. So they are not having, so these factors of production, so the cheese, the sauce, the oregano, the chili flakes, they're not having the demand of their own, they're having a derived demand. They're deriving their demand from the demand for the goods and services. Okay, this is the concept of demand for the factors of production. Now, next thing which we need to understand is the same concept in terms of energy. The same concept we need to understand in terms of energy, because energy itself is of no use to anyone. What would anyone do with electricity if that electricity cannot be used to get other goods and services? With just electricity, with just having electricity, there's no benefit, right? With just having gas, there is no benefit. The electricity is beneficial only when we are utilizing it for some other purposes, like for lighting or for heating or for cooking. So it is of use. Electricity is only of use when it is used for producing other goods and services. Thus, energy itself is a The factor of production. So energy is a factor of production that is used in many economic activities. And energy also has got a derived demand, and it doesn't have a demand of its own. No one is demanding for the energy because they want that energy. They're demanding for that energy so that they can utilize that energy to provide a service, or to provide, or to make a goods or commodities. Okay, the next slide is with regards to the derived demand for energy. So now what we understood was we are buying energy because that energy can be utilized in, in production of other goods, or for providing other services. So in order to obtain desired goods and services, there is a demand for energy, so that with the use of the energy, the desired goods and services can be produced. And the example for it is electricity. Electricity is purchased by customers. Every month we are paying electricity bills, so we are actually purchasing electricity. Why are we purchasing electricity? Do we want electricity, or do we want to use that electricity to get something else? We want that electricity so that it helps us perform functions of lighting, dishwashing, washing of clothes, etc. So we are buying that electricity in order to use it for something else, in order to use it for something else. So this is an example. And the demand for energy is not due to the preference of the energy itself, like how we discussed. And the next point to note is the demand for energy depends on these 4 points. The first point is demand for desired goods and services, as discussed. The energy conversion technologies used, the cost of energy, and the availability and properties of the energy technologies that are being used. So based on these 4 factors, the energy demand varies. See, energy conversion technologies refers to the technologies used by the products to convert one form of energy to another form of energy. Let me give an example to better understand. One example of energy conversion technology is, let's take the example of ACs. In ACs, there are motors. So the electrical energy, that the electricity is the electrical energy that is getting converted to mechanical energy in order for the AC to function, because it has a motor in it. Similarly, you can take the example of heater. In heaters that we use during summers, what's happening? In heaters, the same electrical energy is getting converted into thermal energy. So this is called as energy conversion technologies. Every product has a different energy conversion technology that is being used in it. Now let's understand demand substitution in the case of energy. There are different energy commodities that is available in the economy which can be used for the same energy services. Let's take an example of an energy service of cooking. So to provide this service of cooking, there are different energy commodities available, and we can choose which commodity to be used. For example, we can use charcoal, wood, electricity, gas. So cooking being an energy service can be done using various energy commodities. So let's say that tomorrow the price of electricity is going to rise or has risen. Then we can go for other energy commodities like gas, which would be cheaper than electricity. So with the change in price, we can actually shift the commodities. But at the end of the day, we should remember that this kind of substitution is not very easily doable, because it's not so easy to shift from one energy conversion technology to another energy conversion technology, or from one energy commodity to another energy commodity. This is not possible, because you can, let's understand this as an example. For example, if I'm using gas to produce food, that is, if I'm using gas to cook, then I cannot suddenly shift to using of electricity, or using of some other equipment, or using of wood. Because to do that, I would have already purchased a gas cylinder, and that gas cylinder is still not over. So I would need to, finish that gas, and then I would have to go and purchase the induction stove. So this entire process would take some time. So the substitution is possible, but it's possible over a longer run and not over a shorter run. we cannot immediately shift. For example, if I'm using a washing machine, I cannot suddenly think, okay, I'll buy some other kind of machine which is using some other kind of technology to wash clothes. That cannot be done because I have invested heavily on the washing machine. That's my investment. So I will think that, okay, let me use a washing machine for few more years and then let us shift. So demand substitution in case of energy commodities is mostly possible in the long run and not in the short run. And various commodities are viewed as imperfect substitutes for one another. This is due to the said reason. It is imperfect substitutes for one another because these are short run substitution. Like today, if I am wanting to shift from using gas to cook, I want to shift to using a wood to cook. In this shift, I would have thought of this shift because the prices of gas has increased. Now, by the time I shift, what if the prices come down and I feel that, okay, gas is affordable, why should I work so hard finding wood or buying wood? Now I feel gas is more comfortable. I can go with the gas. And this thought process is changing because of the time gap. Because in the longer run, my decision, which is affected due to the price, that factor itself got changed. Since that factor got changed, my entire viewpoint changed. That's why the various energy commodities are viewed as imperfect substitutes for one another. They're not perfect substitutes, they're imperfect substitutes. A greater sustainability exists in the longer run. Due to this particular reason, various commodities are viewed as imperfect substitutes for one another. After studying all this, let us try and understand if energy is an essential good. Now, what is the meaning of essential goods? Essential goods refers to the goods in which for which the demand doesn't get impacted with the change in price. Even if the price rises, people would still buy the goods because it is essential for the survival. For example, in cases of let's say water, no matter what the cost of water would be, for a thirst to be satisfied, we would go for it. So that would be considered an essential good because that's required for survival. So that's an example of essential goods. So now we need to figure out, is energy an essential good? Since many human activities aren't possible without using energy, why are we even getting this thought of whether energy is an essential good or not? We're getting this thought because right now, with the age in which we're living, energy is used in almost every human activity. So without energy, living is quite unimaginable. So we need to figure out if it is an essential goods or not, because it looks as if it is an essential goods, but the reality is that energy is not an essential goods. And why is it not an essential good? It is because there are particular commodities. Okay, particular commodities, we refer to particular energy commodities. Particular energy commodities can be converted from one form to another. Since it can be converted from one form to another, it is not an essential goods. Even the aggregate of all the purchase energy is not viewed as an essential goods, because let me give an example. For example, let's say the petrol prices has risen a lot and people are not able to afford it, and even all the energies that are available, every price has become very high and we're not able to purchase it. So then we can even prefer walking. We can prefer using a cycle. So still there are ways without energy to survive. Since still there are methods that we can use to survive without energy or without petrol in this example. That's why we say that energy is not an essential commodity. Yes, that's why energy is not an essential commodity. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you.